Gratitude is a discipline. It's something that maybe some of us need to practice to get better at doing. There are studies that suggest the practice of gratitude is fundamental to personal fulfillment or satisfaction, and I think it's true. The people that I know who are the happiest or most fulfilled aren't the ones who have the most, but those who are the most grateful for what they have. Certainly things can always be better than they are, and there's nothing wrong with striving for greater success. I think that's important too. But things can also be a lot worse than they are. And right in the middle is the life we're living right now, and perhaps those with whom we share it, and the opportunity to be thankful for that. Some 20 years ago, I wrote a meditation on gratitude. It was inspired by the spiritual attitude of a dear friend, and while it's written in the context of a religious or theological exercise, that in itself is not really the point. So if that's not your gig, I totally get it, and I hope you can overlook that, because whether through the perspective of religion or secularism, personal achievements, or even the blessings of entitlement, the act of being grateful, gratitude itself, is an expression of human authenticity. So, what are you thankful for?
Once there was a man who sat alone on a beach by the side of the ocean. Sometimes he would come to this beach to speak with God and to sort out all the problems of his day. The man had a good life. He worked very hard. He had many friends and was well liked. But he was unhappy, for he felt that his life was unfulfilling, and he always wanted more. On this particular day, he was very unhappy, and as he sat on the beach, he decided to speak to God and present his problems in hopes that God would resolve them. "Dear God," said the man, "all through my life, whenever I was in need of something, a better job, a nice new car, fancy suits, anything, I always asked for your help, and each time I had to work extra hard on my own to get for myself the things that I needed. Now, God, I have a good life, but sometimes it gets out of my control, and if you are really up there, I need to know what you can give me to bring some peace and personal comfort into my life." The man then closed his eyes and waited for an answer, but he could not hear it, and he decided that if God answered him at all, then it was much too softly, for all he could hear was the roar of the ocean waves as they crashed into the sandy beach, and the sound of the wind as it bellowed through the treetops nearby. The man was very discouraged. Not long afterwards, there came to the beach a woman who sat on the sand just a short distance away. She turned her face to the sky, closed her eyes, and began to speak to God, for this also was her favorite place to come and get in touch with the Lord. And the man watched her as she prayed. "Thank you, Lord," said the woman, "for the graciousness that you have shown me, for this wonderful life that you have let me live, and especially for all these wonderful gifts that you have given me." As she said this, she spread her hands outward as if to present these wonderful gifts. And the man was very confused, for he could see that she had nothing. He looked up the beach and saw that the woman had no car. The clothes that she wore were tattered and old. Surely she could not have nearly as good a life as he. What cause could she have to be so thankful? What were these wonderful gifts? But the woman appeared to be very content, for she knew that the Lord had heard her prayer, and a smile shone brightly across her face because she could hear his answer. The man was still very confused, for he strained very hard to listen, and still he could not hear God's answer, and still he could not see God's wonderful gifts. But the woman was listening, and she heard the ocean waves as they broke against the warm white sands of the beach, and she heard the wind as it rustled the branches and green leaves of the treetops nearby, and the woman was very happy.